Q&A. We called it Q&A, but it's not going to be Q&A. Bad news. So we have dental students from 5 schools. We have from Nova, from UF, from Kentucky, from Maryland, and from VCU. I also invited, because we have 4 FIU alumni and we have 2 alumni. So I invited Predental as well. I let them know, and if the I don't know if anyone from joined the students, but I invited them too, just since Nicole and Jade, they're from So how's this going to work is that each dental student is going to talk about their journey to dental school and other important information that everyone needs to know for 20 minutes. And it's good if you guys have a little notebook and write it down. That way when you apply to dental school, let's say this cycle, next cycle, you guys can use those information and it'll be like a lot easier for everyone to compare different dental schools from each other. So we're gonna have Jade and Jennifer go first from University of Maryland Dental School.
Hi everyone, I just wanna make a little note that I do have a dog, so please do not mind if he starts barking. He barks randomly. I live in an apartment, so I'm gonna share with you guys just one screen, like a little slide that I made with like main points, so that you guys can see why I chose Maryland. Okay. So basically, I am a D3. I graduated from FIU back in 2015. So you guys, some of you guys were even in middle school or graduating middle school when I was graduating from FIU. I actually am a non-traditional student. So I actually went to Barry for my master's right after FIU. And that was because I was working at a dental office and I basically focused all my time working and not so much on my grades. So since my grades suffer, I took the DAT once, didn't do that well. I decided I'm not gonna even apply. I went straight into the master's program, did that for 2 years. And then once I did that, I was accepted to many schools and I chose University of Maryland. So the reason why I chose Maryland is for a few reasons. Basically, it's the first dental school in the world. I like that they had 135 students per class, so it's not a small class, but it's not a huge class. So you're constantly seeing a lot of people every day and you're getting to meet new people. Probably Jade hasn't even probably met half of her class because of the coronavirus that's going on. And also the tuition. So our school is a public school. So being from Florida, I was able to apply second year for in-state. So second year, I was able to have the tuition that people from Maryland, the people from Maryland get. So I thought that that was a good reason why to come to Maryland. I like that they had 2 exams a week. Usually 3 first year, it's very rare. And Jade can talk a little bit more about that since she's going through it, excuse me. You start seeing patients your 3rd year, and now due to the coronavirus, we are seeing about 5 patients a week. Usually before coronavirus, you were able to see as many patients as you want. We do have specialty clinics in school. We have all the specialties, and we do have hospital block. So we are across the street from the trauma hospital in Baltimore. And so if you want to do OS or something like that, I think you're going to have a really interesting time working at the hospital because they do see a lot of trauma cases. And then also what I really loved about Maryland is that after the first year, you get 3 months off. So those 3 months off used to be for during when you were taking boards, you would have those 3 months to study. That's what I use, but I know now it's different for you guys that are applying. If you guys I think are taking it at the end. So now you guys just have 3 months off to do whatever you want. So, and then after that, you do have a month off every year for the summer. This is a picture of the Inner Harbor. We're in Baltimore, Maryland. So I put a little area, you can barely see it, but we're right there. We're walking distance to the harbor. This is like, think of it like a bayside of Miami. So I put here like about how much the apartments cost. That's roughly, it can be more, it can be less, depending on what you want to, where you want to live. If you want to live more luxury, you can definitely live more high end. If not, there are cheaper alternatives. I enjoyed the walk to school. I was born and raised in Miami, and I never lived close to a school where I could walk to it. So living here, that is another benefit that I enjoyed. Also, that I really like the closeness to all the other cities where Baltimore is. So we're an hour from DC, 2 hours from Philly, 3 hours from New York, and then a 2.5 plane ride to Miami. And if you use Spirit, which is to Fort Lauderdale, I've gotten like cheap Spirit rides, especially now with coronavirus, for like $20. So that's really, really cool. I enjoyed that University of Maryland or Baltimore has a very diverse population. I am Hispanic, and I speak Spanish. There's a lot of Hispanics, believe it or not, in Baltimore. And if you speak Spanish, then you're going to benefit really good, because a lot of the Spanish speaking patients, they only speak Spanish, and then you get priority over those patients. And then Hispanics are pretty punctual, and they're there all the time, so you can get a lot of cases done. And you were also in the city of downtown, so we have all economic backgrounds. There's people who have money and can afford all the implant cases, can afford everything, and there's people that cannot, but they have also discounts available. And also, since we're in the north, there's Four Seasons that I never saw in Miami. I put my email down there. If you guys have any questions, you guys can definitely give me an email, and I'll let Jade take over now.
Okay. Hi, guys. My name is Jade. I'm a first-year dental student at University of Maryland. I graduated from University of Miami in May. So I basically went straight through. I took my DAT in August before my senior year, and then applied to dental school in August as well, and got in the first cycle that I applied. The reason why I chose Maryland over any other school was that I really liked its reputation as being the first dental school in the world. So I felt like I would get a really good education here. I also really liked how diverse the school is and the area as well. As she just explained, like Baltimore is a very diverse city on its own, so you would definitely get a lot of good experience here. I also really like that they have a lot of community service opportunities, as that was something I was pretty involved in undergrad. And the class size, I really like that it wasn't like too big or too small of a class size. And yeah, I'm still like getting to know Baltimore a little bit, so I can't really speak on everything that it has to offer, but I do really feel like safe here, and it's nice to be in walking distance to school and to all your friends. Everybody lives in pretty much the same area within like 5-10 minutes of you, which is pretty nice. And there's a decent amount of like restaurants and shops that you could go to when you do have downtime. And I think that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, who wanted or
Yeah, sure.
Could I
All
ask
right,
a-
guys. So,
Oh,
what's
okay.
up?
Could I ask a quick question about Maryland?
Sure, go ahead.
You guys said you get in-state tuition after the first year, or is that after the second year?
After the first year, you apply, and it applies for your second year. You have to be one of the requirements is you have to live in Maryland for a year. So the sooner you move to Maryland and you get your license, the sooner you can apply to become a resident.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
All right. Okay, guys. So my name is Aldo. I'm Cuban. I'm a here first year student at UK, University of Kentucky in Lexington. I apply around June, so that's one of the best advice I could give you. Apply as early as you can. so you will have better chance. So I took my DAT in May. I applied around June, and I started receiving invitation for interview around July. So I received a total of 14 interviews for dental school. I applied to around like 20 something schools. And the reason why I applied to many schools was because of my DAT wasn't the highest score. So I received 14 in total, and 2 of them were after December, which I declined to them because I already have acceptances in December. So the reason why I choose University of Kentucky was pretty much because of the clinical experience that we have here. So we're 65 students, so which is something I would say really good because of the faculty ratio. Is pretty high because we get a lot of attention. I mean, when you're in the lab, only 65 students plus, I don't know, like 12, 13 doctors, you learn better because you really need to like, right now, for example, I'm in waxing. That's one of the first classes you take in dental school, which is dental anatomy. I have a professor all the time next to me, you know, so telling you what to do, telling you how to do everything. So I feel that's something really good we have here. Also, in terms of patients, we have a really big pool here of patients. And also, since we don't have that many students, since we're only 65, we get a lot of experience with patients. We have the opportunity to work with like real rare cases. Like for example, we can do implants. We can do, I don't know, a student here, they can graduate with like 40, 50 root canals. Like we do like extract everything, but like in a ton of experience. Because we don't have too many residency programs here, you get that opportunity. We do have residency programs like pediatrics. We also have orthodontics, I guess, and but we don't have, for example, endodontics. So we have clinic for those specialty, but we don't have residents there, so we get the opportunity to do those procedures. And that's something also good because at the end of the day you will be saving money, because if you graduate from a school that they don't have that many experience in dentistry, you will ended up going to a GPR program or an advanced dental program, and you will be spending probably more money and time too. And as I see that as an opportunity here, graduating as a ready dental clinician, that's something really good. And that's the main reason why I choose University of Kentucky over the other dental school I got accepted to. And also another reason why I choose Kentucky was also because of the cost living. Here's pretty cheap. I paid $679 for my apartment, 600 square foot, and like washer, dryer, Wi-Fi, TV, everything included except for power. Um, Also, everything's super close here, so you don't spend that much of gas. The city, it's nice because we have a downtown. We also have I would say like kind of like farm area too, because we're in Kentucky. You won't see New York here, of course, but I mean we have enough of restaurants. We have enough like outdoor experience. If you like hiking and stuff like that, you can do all of that in here. We have Chicago around like 6 hours away. We have Cincinnati like an hour away. We have Louisville like an hour away. So we're like pretty much in the middle of the U.S. So you can go anywhere. The airport in Cincinnati, which is an hour from here, you can find non-stop flight to Miami all the time, or you can just make a stop from Lexington because we have an airport also here. Also, Lexington is known as the horse capital of the world because here there is a lot of horse races, and that's pretty cool if you're interested into that. We do a lot of golf here, a lot of outdoor stuff, and food. Food is pretty good here too. And also for those that speak Spanish, it's an advantage also here because we have a big community for Mexicans and also for like in general other countries, and also we have a big Cuban community in Louisville. So a lot of people come here to UK since it's pretty cheap to do those procedures in a dental school instead of going to private clinic. So we get a lot of patients. That's what we say. And if you speak Spanish, it's pretty good because you don't need you can just get more patients that speak Spanish. What else? So we're a hospital-based school, so everything here is together: pharmacy, nursing, medical school, and then school. Everything is in the same school, and also we are located on the same undergrad school, so it's the same campus for everything. It's huge. It's like probably 5 times FIU. It's huge. So what else? we're pretty known for Wildcats basketball. So if you're pretty interested in that, into sport, we're pretty famous on that. It gets crazy here in those times. Right now, because of COVID, I haven't seen that much, but I heard about it. Um, so yeah, about the tuition. So I will say here, you don't have the opportunity to get in state after your second year. So you have to pay as another state. The only reason you will get in state is pretty like weird, like rare if you get that, because it's if you have like a business or you buy like a house here and stuff like that, maybe you can get that. But I haven't heard about like people getting it that common. Also, this is a public school, so a lot of the students here are in state. Out of the 65, we have like 40 in state and 25 out of state, and we received like 3,000 applications. So it's hard to get into here, but at the same time, if they look at demographic a lot because they want to have a diverse class. So you have opportunity if you have a great application overall, and that's what I had. A lot of extracurriculars. I explained them why I have patience for this school because of all the reasons I mentioned you before, like clinical experience. So if you talk to them like in details when you apply to this school, they will see that you're interested here to come here. Any questions, guys, about what I have been talking about?
Yes, I do have a question for you, Aldo.
Yes. Sure.
So you said that you got 14 interviews and your GPA, your DAT was not even that high. So I have a pretty decent GPA. I have been taking microbiome, biochemistry, neuroscience, histology. I have been taking like very difficult courses and I always managed to get A. I studied really hard for my DAT and surprisingly, I'm gonna do amazing on my DAT and score that 30 total science that I want to score. So I just have a question for you. If you think that with the low GPA and with the low DAT, you got 14 interviews, do you think that I'm able to get more than that?
Well, not really, because my GPA was a 3.40 something. It wasn't the highest one, and my DAT was an 18. However, I feel like everything depends of your application in overall. So I feel like if you have enough experience, you also have a great story about yourself, about how
Yes,
you got
you do.
into this field. For
I
example,
do.
my parents are dentists, so pretty much my background is based on like I came from Cuba around 6 years ago, so they pretty much saw how much I worked in only 5 years and a half at the time of application and how I got all the requirements done. So I showed them to them like I really have. I mean, maybe that's what I feel. You know, no one's know why they should why they liking me, but I feel pretty much it was because of the story and my extracurricular experience. Now the question to you, I don't know, because to be honest with you, everyone is different. Right now it's a weird year because of COVID, so I will say I don't know what they're looking for right now. As last years I apply, I know they were looking into more like, and like that's the trend right now. They're looking more into like overall candidate, like because you can have great score, you can have like 25 in the DT, you can have I don't know 3.9 on the GPA, but if you don't have enough experience, you don't know how to express yourself when you're interviewing. You don't know how to answer to the like. For example, I used to relay all the values as a future dentist toward my experiences. So when I interview in every single school I went to, I used to also like not. I didn't say like I work in this place, I learned how to be responsible. I learned, no. I always related and I give examples of real life experience as a future dentist. So I don't know. I prepare myself really well for interviews because I was one of the main point to get into. Because when they like in paper, they need to like also in person. But yeah, I don't know, to be honest with you. I can answer that question. I don't know if you're gonna get 20 interviews. No one really knows, because everything depends on your whole application. And I haven't seen your whole application, and I'm not part of the dental committee neither, So to be honest, I don't know. I also was realistic when I was applying. I didn't apply to like Harvard, Columbia, schools like that. I applied to like private schools. I applied to schools that I had a chance of it. I also review which school accept more in state than out of state. I went to statistics, so I applied to school that I really had a chance. I made like a month of research in every single school. I went to all the 66 schools for dental school, like all the stats, all the profile classes.
Oh, it sounds great. And by the way, I'm Cuban too, and I came like almost like 6 years ago only. So I have a great story as well. Thank you so much.
That's good. Best of luck. You will get in. Don't worry. Be positive.
Thank you.
Aldo.
Thank you so much.
I'm
Yes.
sorry for interrupting. I know it's not a Q&A, sorry, but I just wanted to ask you, Do you think, and I know you're not in the committee, so don't worry if you don't know, with all this COVID thing, I'm doing shadowing virtually. There's been a lot of like programs that have been opened to facilitate shadowing because not every dentist is not allowing people in the office. It's not the same, to be honest, but I am learning. I'm getting. Do you think that if I email the admissions, someone in admissions in Kentucky, and I ask what's their opinion on visual shadowing, do you think that they will like that and answer me, or they will be like annoying person?
To
And
be honest with you, I would say that's pretty good because you're taking advantage out of this COVID pandemic season. So I guess if you're learning, that's what matters. If you know how to explain it, what you saw, because it doesn't matter if you saw it through a camera, if you saw it in person, as long as you learn what you saw, I feel it doesn't matter. I feel that's a pretty good point. It's fine. I wouldn't actually email to them. I'm saying I heard about people doing virtual shadowing right now in groups on Facebook, and it's trending right now because of the pandemic. So it's normal. It's okay. It's all right. Actually here everything is virtual in like for interviews and all
okay.
that.
So would you advise me not to email them, or
You can email them, but I'm telling you that's if you're learning, that's what matters.
okay?
If you know how to explain it, what are you doing by if you're taking advantage to that as a future clinician,
Yeah.
then you're fine.
Yeah, and I'm doing what you're saying. I'm trying to write down everything that I think is interesting because I feel like if I in the interview, if I can relate whatever question they ask me to an experience, to an actual moment, I think that's gonna be good. And I'm really liking it. Of course, I would like it better if we were in person, but yeah.
Now that you talk about it, I'm sorry if I'm taking too long.
No.
Here the interview, it's not personal interview. The interview here is multiple minute interview. It's a type of interview that they ask you questions based on experiences, and you need to be able to put in that positions and like talk about it. For example, cheating. If you see a student cheating in class, for example, that's not one of the statement because it wouldn't be ethical if I tell you what they asked me in the interview. But that's something like an example that they can ask you. You have one of the stations, it's 10 stations in total. One of the station is personal. It's like 10 minutes, talk about yourself pretty much, why dentistry, why UK. But the other 9 stations are based on questions like experiences, like values,
Oh, like very short, very
ethical
fast.
stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Ethical
Thank you.
questions. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other question, guys?
Yes, I have one question.
Sure.
So you said you researched your schools, like you didn't apply to all the schools. So could you tell us briefly how did you research?
Well, I went to like every single website for every single dental school, and I went to the profile classes. So for example, UK, I put University of Kentucky in Google profile class for class of 2023, and I look at the average for DAT, the average for age, the average for Hispanic people getting accepted. I look for like in-state and out-of-state acceptance rate. Sometimes you don't find that in Google, but I had a which is in almost every single Facebook group. It's like a Excel document that tell you which school accepted you like versus percentage in state out of state. So I also look at that. I went to like I looked between privates and public schools and demographic in general. So I went to all the statistics and I compare. I made like a table and I started scratching school. For example, I know Texas for sure is in a school right now that they don't accept out of state at all. They accept like one person, and out of the one person, like it's like 0 point, I don't remember the percentage, but it's pretty low. So I wouldn't apply there because the chance is pretty low for me, so that's an example. There is a lot of schools like, for example, West Virginia, they don't accept out of state at all. If you apply as an out of state, you will get the rejection like 10 days later, probably. And
All right.
yeah, that's what I did. Also, remember you have supplemental applications too. I used to, for example, when I did the supplemental and they asked me why this specific school, I used to don't talking of in general. I used to like tell them, like, for example, if they're a big research school about then like in dental school, I used to like go to find an actual researcher in the school and put the name on the supplemental, and I will put in the supplemental like, I'm really interested in this school because I'm really interested in this specific research. Mention the name of the doctor, and like I went super specific in the supplemental, so they like to see you like you're not like talking in general, like I like this school, I want to get into this school because they have a great clinical experience, or because if they have great modern dentistry, whatever, or like digital dentistry. No, I will go and find specific stuff in their website about the program. and like mention names, mention a specific top. Some school have like outdoor, like we have it too. It's like 1 month in a rural clinic, and you work as a dentist. So I mentioned that too. You know, like you need to find specific stuff from the program.
Okay, great information. Thank you so much.
Yes, you're welcome. I'm sorry I went too long, but yeah, if you guys have any questions, I'm gonna put my email here if you guys can email me anything.
Okay, Nicole, do you want to go next?
Yes. So hi everyone. First of all, I have a dinner later. That's why I look like this. And I am a second-year dental student at Virginia Commonwealth University. My journey to dental school, I went to UM for undergrad. I was a microbiome major in advertising. I picked microbiome as a major because I liked that it was more specific to just human health overall and dentistry. And advertising, I just thought it would be more creative and would show more diversity in my application. I got into dental school straight after undergrad, and I chose VCU because I really like the culture. I feel like you can tell a lot about a school from the interview and just talking to other dental students from there. And I felt like I just really connected with everyone here. Everyone was very friendly, approachable. I thought that also as a Spanish speaker, I would have more of an edge here when it came to just relating to patients, getting patients in general. And I really liked that it was also, you get clinical experience straight off the bat. Like D1 year, first week, we were already in the sim lab drilling on teeth. So from very early on, you start preparing teeth, doing restorations, all that good stuff. And yeah, so VCU is located in Richmond. I also like that I wasn't used to having seasons, like weather-wise in Florida. So I really like that Virginia was a big change from Miami, since I had been there also, like just grew up there and went there for undergrad. And the city also has, it's a city, but has a more small town vibe too. It's not super crazy, but you do have restaurants, bars. But you also have like a lot of parks nearby. So if you're more of a nature person, you can hike, you can go running, kayaking in the river, anything you want. You have DC like 2 hours away. You have the mountains 2 hours away, the beach 2 hours away. So you're like in a really good spot where you can just have a little bit of everything with just a pretty short drive. And as far as like tuition goes, in-state tuition, I believe it's around 60,000. Out of state is 90, around there. But I'm pretty sure you can just find like the actual breakdown on the VCU website. And as far as the rate of acceptance to specialty after graduation, I actually emailed one of the admissions officers, and she was saying how we have a very high acceptance rate to specialty training after graduation. It's about 60% of our graduating class each year applies to advanced training, and 98% are accepted on average. And over the past few years, it has been 100%. And yeah, those are all the questions. And let me know if you guys have any other questions.
So first I had my question, Nicole.
Yeah.
How much is let's say the debt after 4 years for VCU? Is it like Maryland that after the second year you become an in-state?
No, so Virginia, it's actually a lot harder to get in-state tuition. So you basically have to prove that you're going to stay in Virginia working after graduation. So I didn't choose that path. I am doing applying for the Air Force program with the health professional scholarship so that they can just pay for all of tuition, because yeah, even people that have been living here for like a couple years still struggle to get in-state tuition approved. Even if they're married to a Virginia resident, like it's rough to get in-state tuition.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So I'm also in UMiami in the microbiology program, and I was wondering if your microbiology major influenced anything in your dental application, because I have heard in studentdoctor.net that you can mention your laboratory skills as your manual dexterity portion, and that microbiology is also 1 out of 4 of the microbiome programs in the nation, I think. And did it make you stand out anywhere by being there? Like, how did it help you for your application?
I think it helped me with just classes in general once I started dental school. One of the first classes we take is microbiology. So I had already a lot of background experience with those classes when I first started, so it made dental school a little bit easier. And I did get asked in my interview at VCU about my research experience, and my research experience was in microbiology. I was in a malaria lab, and they did ask me about like, oh, did you have any hands-on experience? And I talked about like how I did dissections and how that's very like, you need surgical precision. So that's like, you know, related to manual dexterity. Other than that, like no one was really like, oh wow, microbiome. Like, I don't know. I feel like they would just ask me like, oh, what's your favorite class? Like things like that. But yeah, mainly I just like that it did give me a lot of background to be more prepared for dental school as far as like immune system things, bacteria, all that good stuff.
Got it. Thank you.
No problem. Any other question?
I do have one question, but I don't know. I wanted to ask Melina, do you think it's better if I write it in the chat and if there's time so that other people can go? I have one question for you, Nicole, but I want to ask you if you know we're tight on time.
You can ask two, like, okay, what we're gonna do 3 to like 4 questions, not like 20 questions for one school. That way everyone has their time to talk.
Okay, so could I ask my question now or at the end? No? Okay. So, okay, Nicole. So what I've heard from about VCU is that it's very, very big on community service and like people that apply there have a lot of hours, you know, in extracurriculars, community service. I wouldn't say I have a lot of hours. I wouldn't say I'm weak either. Like I'm super involved extracurricularly and I would say decent hours. I thought I had decent hours in the community service, but I'm an engineering major, so I have very little time to devote to community service. But I still have like 250, I would say. When I saw the stats, people apply with 700 or something like that. I saw, and I was very, very scared. Would you say that they are like they would like look down on me or like not even call me for an interview if I don't like have that high, you know, amount of hours?
Well, I definitely did not have 700 hours. Definitely, I think I had over 200, around that range. They mainly just asked me about my involvement, like if it was something that, so I try to find one program that I really loved and try to continue it for most of my undergrad career. And so they just asked me about that, like, oh, why was this something you were passionate about? Why were you interested in this? But I don't think, like if you have good metrics, I feel like the main thing that dental schools look like first is just your grade and your DAT. So like I wouldn't, like community service gives you an edge, but if you have I would focus more on my GPA and getting a good DAT rather than trying to do 1,000 hours and then having your grades slip, especially since you're in engineering, so it's a very challenging program.
Yeah, exactly. And thank you. Yeah, same. I've been trying to pick like I have like 3 main involvements that I really like, and I've been doing that like forever. But still, like 2 hours every week, you know, and that doesn't add up like that fast. So I do have some hours, but I was very scared. But I do like VCU, so I'm gonna apply either way and see what happens. I just wanted to ask you since you applied, and you went through it. Maybe you know. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, so who wants to go next? I don't know. Chris, you want to go next?
I can go. I'm ready.
Okay.
Okay, hi guys. My name is Kira Jimenez. I'm from Venezuela. I'm currently at D1 at Nova. I was sitting there last semester. I graduated from FIU on May with a Bachelor in Nutrition Science. And this is one thing that I want to point it out. As Nicole said, she wasn't a biology major, and it's a good thing. They like dental school like to see diversity, as Nicole said, like different things. The common bachelor that everyone does is bio. So if you can do another one like Nicole or physics, psychology, whatever you want, but you need to make sure to meet the requirements, the requirement classes to get into dental school. For example, nutrition science, the one that I did, didn't have physics 1 and 2. So I just took those separate classes from my curriculum, and it was great. And but yeah, you need to like do the requirements because they like emphasize a lot on those. And a quick tip that I can say, if you can take anatomy, histo, and I think micro is a requirement, but anatomy and histo before coming to dental school, it's gonna be really, really good for you. Because those, like for example, Nova, the first semester, the most difficult class is micro. So if you have like a really basics concepts and everything, it's gonna be good for you. And anatomy, we are not seeing only like head and neck, we're seeing the whole body. So if you have like a good basics on that, that would be great. I didn't took anatomy, and now I'm paying the price. But yeah, I know a lot of people say that Nova is easy, and it's not. I mean, it's really, really hard to get in and like to be alive here. You have to, I don't know how much credits the other university have, but we have 31 credits approximately per semester. You can't choose the classes that you wanna take. It's like they enroll you in the semester, and that's it. That's, you need to survive with those 31 credits. What else? Well, I choose, okay, so I just applied. I did a crazy thing. I just applied for the ones that, the universities that were here in Florida. So I just applied to 3, to Lincoln, UF, and Nova. I don't recommend that at all. As Aldo say, like if you wanna, like the best thing is like open all the cards that you have and apply to everything that you want to. Or if you don't have like a great DAT as Aldo, you can apply, like don't go to Harvard or those that you know that you're not gonna get accepted. So don't waste that money. And but yeah, the best recommendation that I can say is like open your cards and apply to everything that you want. And if you're willing to move and experience like everything new, go ahead and do it. I didn't want to move. I'm here, super happy. So I just applied to those. I don't know what happened with Lincoln. They didn't receive my information. They said that I was missing some recommendation letters, but I wasn't. So I just left it, like I didn't care about that. I got the 2 interviews from Nova and from UF. And then I got into the waiting list for UF and Nova. I mean, I got accepted into Nova, and that was perfect because it will be so hard to get into to decide if moving to Gainesville for UF. We know UF is a great school, but I didn't want to move, so that made my decision super easy. Just Nova. And Nova is a great school. We are 132 students per class, so it's not that big. What else can I say? I don't know. You have any questions? Oh, I graduated from FIU, and I took my DAT in August, and then I applied, like, yeah, the recommendation is to apply the earliest you can. Like if I think the application opens in June 1st. So if you can't send the application without the DAT, if you didn't take it like yet, I did that. I sent my application with my personal statements, letters of recommendation, shadowings, all the volunteerings, and the only thing that was like in hold was my DAT. I took it in August. I studied 3 months, just studying, no classes at FIU, no working, no nothing. And I got a really high score, and then I got like into Nova right away. You have any questions?
I have a question that's sort of for everyone, but Kyra, because you brought it up, you mentioned that anatomy and histo are some of the most important that you feel like when you were transitioning at Nova. Would you say that, because I'm also trying to figure out what courses I should take now in my senior year to help me, would you say that anatomy, like you would still play the same emphasis on it, even at a school that was only teaching head and neck anatomy?
I mean, anatomy is gonna be great, even though it's just head and neck. We as a dentist, the most important thing is head and neck. But for Nova, like I'm almost finishing my first semester, so this part, like from 2 weeks ago until the last of November, I'm gonna see just only neck and head. So it's gonna help you a lot, even though it's only neck and head.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And I guess everyone else, if you also have like other recommendations for everyone of what other like prereqs could also be helpful.
I think biochem also is really important.
Histology, I would say too. Histology, biochemistry, and anatomy. Physiology also, I took it. It's helpful. I haven't taken physiology here yet, but it's next semester, so I'll see. But histology, I didn't take it in FIU, and it's hard. I'm taking it now, so I would recommend you to take it if you can.
And they like to see that you already like took those classes, like you are like familiar with those and that you made it. So they think like, yeah, like she can do it again here.
Hey, Tita.
Hi, Letty, how are you?
Good, I'm very proud of you. I have a quick question for you. What about neuroscience? What do you think about neuroscience?
I didn't take neuroscience, but I think it's a plus. Everything that is different from the rest is a plus.
Okay.
So I don't think a lot of people take that class. So if you're taking it right now and you score, I don't know, if you get a B or something, it's gonna be great. They're gonna like that because at the end of the 4 years, you're gonna see something related, and they're gonna know that you like health material, like classes, and if you can make that an B or an A, they're gonna know that you can do good in dental school.
Thank you so much.
Hi, Tia. I have a question for you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, my name is Erica. I'm also in nutrition science near FIU, and I know that for our major you can choose to take the biochemistry class either from the bio or chem department. Do you think that there is like a difference at all, or would you recommend either or?
Yeah, I didn't hear you very well. If you can write the question on the chat, I can answer for you. Well, also, as you guys know, Nova is super expensive. So I think all of us is gonna do an in-state, or if you're an international student, you're not gonna do an in-state tuition. You're not gonna have, an in-state tuition. But I ask, like I'm paying my tuition. I'm not paying, I have 2 loans, the FAFSA, and they have one loan called close, it's like plus loan Nova or something like that, because FAFSA only, it's gonna like help you with the half of the amount. So you need the rest to get like the loan, another loan, because FAFSA is just gonna give you the half. And the plus Nova loan is gonna give you the other half. So you're gonna have a complete amount for the loan.
Yeah, I can't talk about that. It's you can get only $22,000 from FAFSA, which is the subsidized loans, and then the rest will go to Grad Plus loans. So it's like a whole application. So if you have a great credit score, that's nice. But if you don't have credit at all, you should sometimes put a cosigner there. But everything will work out. So don't worry about that for now. But yeah.
Also, I didn't do any research, and for example, I think that wasn't a good thing to apply for UF, because UF is a research university. So if you have time to do research, it's better. It's gonna, the most thing that you have in your application is the better. So if you have if you can do research, I recommend that too.
Kira, could you drop your email in the chat?
Yes, of course. I can drop you my email and my Instagram account that I'm having like my journey as a dental student, so you guys can see my experience and ask me everything.
Cool, I'll follow. Thank you.
Does the interest rate apply to your loan after you graduate, or is it during your years in dental school?
I think it's after.
It's during. It's during. Interest starts the minute you get that money. So
Yeah, I really don't think about it, because if not, I mean, it's too much, so I don't think about it. But yeah, now that you brought it out, it is in like the minute you just applied, because they told you like they recommend you to start paying. If you can't pay, of course, the whole amount, you can like, they recommend you to start paying the interest rate so it doesn't like add too much. But no one.
Yeah, because after the 4 years, your interest rate during those 4 years plus the loan, which is the base, they will mix, and then all the interest will be charged to the entire amount. So that's why in those 6 months after you graduate, you should pay as much as you can, and then that will help you. But yeah.
Also know that with the coronavirus, they've actually stopped the interest rate. So at this moment, none of us are being charged for interest until I think January of this year.
and they also lowered the interest rates because of COVID. Like they went down, like I think it was like 6%. I don't know. Now it's like 5 and 4%. So it's definitely lower, and that's a big help.
Really quick, just like expanding off that, doesn't it matter also if you get unsubsidized loans versus subsidized loans? Is that
In graduate school, there's just one, which is the one with interest, and grad
Yes,
plus.
subsidized.
I see. Okay.
Do you guys have any more questions?
I have one last question regarding the loans. If you don't know, anyone else can answer. How often do they, I guess, update it? So is it like bi-yearly, or every year the 6% gets put into account?
I think it's yearly.
Every year, yeah.
I mean, the amount that I'm paying for this semester wasn't this. Also, I don't know, Nova. The amount that I'm paying right now for my first semester isn't the same for the first semester of the ones that are in D2 right now. Mine is more expensive. It's like 10 grams more.
I'm not sure if this is maybe only a Maryland thing, but we, due to the coronavirus, they weren't allowed to increase tuition. So tuition actually had to stay the same as last year. So the same tuition that I had last year is this year.
That's great.
All right, thank you guys.
Excuse me, I have a question, and it's kind of regarding, I guess, your lifestyles. Do you guys work while in dental school, or do you guys receive allowances to pay for your apartments or do anything?
I mean, in my personal experience is that you are asking for a loan to pay the university, but also you can ask more so you can pay all your living, like apartment, gas, food, everything. I mean, you are asking for an extra loan so you can leave, because I don't think you're gonna have time to work.
Yeah, every school have a budget yearly, and that budget includes what you're gonna spend in living costs, plus transportation, plus food, everything. And that's what FAFSA will give you, only up to that amount. When I'm talking about FAFSA, I'm talking about the grad plus loan too, which is the same way that you apply for the subsidy. So yeah, everything's included there. Now, if you take it or not, it's up to you. You can choose whatever you want. Some people don't take it at first, like later, or they take it everything at first and then they send back something before the semester is done. And yeah, but it works. Yeah, it's like that. But, yeah.
At Maryland, there are students that do work. They will work at the gym, which is currently closed, but they do work if they want. It's doable.
Yeah, it is. Especially I feel like as you get into the later years, you get a little bit more free time. But like for example, right now, my free time, like I'll tutor kids in the afternoon through Zoom. So I've been making some extra money on the side doing that. So you can still find your ways to make some money, like even though you're in full-time school.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kira. Chris, do you want to go next? And then at the end, we'll have like 20 minutes Q&A for everyone.
Okay, cool. So what's up, guys? For those of you who don't know me, my name is Christian Hemmelberg. I'm a D1 at UF, and basically I'm just gonna go through kind of like my journey to dental school and like what I had applying, so you guys can kind of have an idea and kind of go off based off that. So when I graduated high school, I graduated with my associates from Miami-Dade College. So I did like high school and college at the same time, and so I did that. And then I went to FIU and I graduated with a double major in biological sciences and natural and applied sciences, and a minor in chemistry. And then in terms of my GPA, my DAT, so my GPA was a 3.7 when I applied. And then my DAT, I took it twice. So the first time I took it, I didn't study and I got super behind and I got busy. And then eventually I just ended up taking it because once you pay for the exam, like you're gonna have to take it like to not lose that money. So I just took it and I got an 18 the first time, but then the second time around I actually studied and I got a 23. So like if you just put in the effort and you put in the time, I think the biggest thing with that exam is just giving it the time and being disciplined with your time, because the material is not really too hard. It's just a matter of like making sure you study a set amount of hours and like schedule yourself so that within a certain time period you study all the material. So I would definitely recommend that. I was also part of the Pre-Dental Society while I was at FIU. And then I was also part of a pre-health fraternity, Delta Epsilon Mu. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but they're the pre-health fraternity on campus. I also shadowed at Baptist. I shadowed a dentist, right? Things that we all need to do. Volunteering. I volunteered in different countries, so you could do it locally and internationally. And I think it's just good to have variation, man. Like whatever you can do, definitely do it. Whatever shows that you had different experiences and you're a well-rounded candidate, I think is definitely an advantage. And then, dental school. For dental school, I agree with what they all said. Make sure you guys take those classes, especially anatomy. I feel like anatomy is one of the classes that people struggle with the most. And when you haven't seen it before, it's rough because they don't start from square one, like telling you like what's superior and inferior. Like, no, they just go straight into it. So it's good to have an idea beforehand, like what you're doing. And so why UF? Why did I choose UF? Basically, I choose UF because, well, my priorities when applying were price, location, and ranking in that order. Just because like I didn't want a lot of debt. I wanted to live in like a good place. I didn't want to live somewhere I didn't see myself living. And then I obviously cared about like the quality of the school. So basically, out of all the schools that I applied to, like UF was the best one, and I got in, and I chose it because of that. It was the best school. It has all the specialties. Shands, one of the best hospitals in Florida, is right here. This school is, I knew it was going to give me like some of the best connections and opportunities that I was going to be able to have. So it just made sense to go to UF. Like it was a no-brainer, basically. And so basically, my experience now, I feel like it's been very different. Being here in Gainesville, just because like of COVID. I haven't really feel like I haven't had the full like Gainesville experience due to the fact that like things are closed and stuff like that. But thankfully, like COVID hasn't been too bad here, so like bars and stuff are open now and stuff like that. So it's been pretty chill. There's actually a place that's like $5 all you can drink, so I recommend it. You guys should check it out. Called Social. So yeah, basically Gainesville's like a small town. It's close to Orlando, like an hour and a half away. We're close to Georgia, and then also like we're not too far from Miami. It's a 5-hour car like drive, but it's okay. It could be worse. But so yeah. And then what else? Okay, so tuition at UF, I think this year, yeah, because it changes a little by little, like every year. Every year's a little bit different in terms of how much you pay, but basically I'm paying like $77,000 for my first year. And that's including everything. So like they were saying, like within the money that they tell you and that they give you is included living and all your tuition, all your school fees. So that's including like all my stuff, like my loops, all the stuff I'm going to work with, paying my rent, paying my food. So yeah, ways that I recommend that you can definitely lower the amount of money you take out is by cooking your own food. So make sure you guys know how to cook, because that'll save you a lot of money. Because I know a lot of people who eat out all the time, or they eat like microwavable meals, and number one, that's bad for you, and number two, they're spending hella money. So learn how to cook and save yourself some money there, because it'll definitely like help out in the long run. So that's usually what I do. Like I'll meal prep for like 2 weeks. I have a bunch of food for 2 weeks, lunch and dinners, take it out of the freezer, cook, put it in the microwave, and that's my food. I don't have to worry about it. Don't have to stress about it. And yeah, and then same thing here. You can also apply to be considered in-state after. So once you're here, I think for a year, you can apply to be in-state tuition because I think out of state they pay like between 20 to 30K more. And then so if you're in-state the whole time, which I'm assuming all you guys will be, in total, the loans, the amount of money that you're going to be paying is going to be like around $300,000, and that's not including interest. So yeah, it's gonna grow a lot from that. So you just got to be on top of it. And I know people that are like just a couple years out of school already paid off all their loans, so it's not too bad. You just have to be on top of it. Just got to be careful with your spending because it's a lot of money. And then for rate of acceptance of specialties, UF has all the specialties, so that was one of the things that like really attracted me to it. And you basically have the opportunity to go look at any of that. Like in our anatomy lab, a pathologist came in and she was like, hey, if you guys want to see autopsies at any time, just let me know. So like we get to see cool stuff like that all the time. So that's really cool. And basically, it's also really competitive for the specialties just because there's so many like limited spots. Like for example, for orthodontists, it's only 4. You're fighting for 4 spots out of, I don't even know how many applicants. I'm assuming like a couple hundred. So it's also just as hard getting into a specialty. And then for like orofacial surgery, there's only 3 spots. So it's a lot of competition when it comes to specialties. But honestly, like when it comes to specialties in dental school, like it's just more based off like grades and like other things that you do. So it just depends like if you want to specialize or not. Like I personally, I don't know. So I'm just kind of like trying my best, keep my opportunities open, but we'll see what happens. So yeah, is there any questions from anybody?
Chris, I have a question. How
Yeah,
much
what's up?
after 4 years in UF?
Wait, can you repeat that?
How much is the debt after 4 years?
300K.
Nice.
And that's one of the cheaper schools.
Yeah, I know. Everyone's
That was the. Oh, I'm sorry. You could. Or was about to talk ago.
Christian, you mentioned that the first time you took the DAT, you scored an 18, and then the second time a 23, and that's a pretty drastic increase. Do you have like anything that you recommend to study with?
Okay, so I use iPrep, and I recommend don't use iPrep. It's too expensive. Like it's just too much money. Don't do it. Do boot camp. Waste like $300, and just put your grind in, and you'll do fine. Like, and then use other resources too for like PAT and stuff like that. Like use a variety of sources. I feel like it's always good to have a little variation. But yeah, iPrep was good, and like I mean I did well, but like the other programs are better, and you're paying way less.
Okay, thank you for the advice.
For sure.
You said you'll have 300,000 in debt after the 4 years without interest. Is that the interest during each year, or is that just flat?
Yeah, I mean the interest is just gonna start accumulating like over time because like it's basically the minute you get it. Like Jennifer said, like since we're in COVID right now, like that's kind of like at a stop. But once that dies down, like the interest is gonna start accruing, and it's just gonna keep going, and it's not gonna stop until you pay it off. So that money is gonna grow. So it's 300K of like loan money, but in reality, it's probably gonna grow closer to 400, 500 because of the interest.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Sure.
How long did you wait between each attempt for the DAT?
It was a year. I took it. It was one summer and then the summer after. Just because I feel like the most efficient and convenient time to take the DAT is like when you don't have other distractions, like other classes. So I just did it in my summers when I was free.
Okay, thank you.
I have one last question. Someone mentioned UF is a really research-based school. Did you have any research while applying, or?
That's funny that you asked that because no, I didn't. I have 0 research experience. So you don't need research. I think the biggest thing they look for is just like well-rounded people. And UF also is very big on community service. So like whatever community service that you can get in there, even if it's small, even if it's like 2 hours a week and whatever you said you were doing, like as long as it's consistent and it shows that like you have a true, genuine care for the community, then like you're good. I think you're pretty much good, especially if you're over like the amount of hours that are like you want.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
What was the international community service that you did?
The international stuff. So I did a trip with Alternative Breaks, which I went to Dominican Republic, and we built latrines for like underserved people. And that's one thing too, like your community service and stuff doesn't only have to be like medical related or dental related. Like do different stuff, like do things like help people in different areas and different things like that. So I did that, and then I went to Mexico 2 years in a row, and I volunteered at a camp like for kids and stuff. So that was like my international stuff.
How did you feel coming out of the interview?
Wow, that interview it was funny because I got to Gainesville because I was still like in the middle of my classes, and I was waiting for like my girlfriend at the time to finish her like homework or something because it was due at 12. So we left like in the middle of the night. We got to Gainesville like at 5 in the morning, and I woke up late to my interview. I didn't brush my teeth. It was bad, man, and I still got in. So look, listen, like even if it's like the worst day ever, like you never know, you might still get in.
For sure. And were you waitlisted on December 2nd or 1st, whatever it was?
No,
or
they
just
called me in the
immediately?
morning. Yeah, they called me in the morning because UF calls you like at 6 or 7. I wasn't even awake at that time. When I woke up, I called back, and then I figured it was I got in because I saw a call from Gainesville.
All right, for sure.
As far as shadowing, sorry, as far as shadowing hours, how do you record those? Like, how did you present them?
Basically, it's in the application. Well, what you can do is also like you should also keep a track of your own hours. Like I feel like it's very important. Like just keeping track of everything you do. And so I did that, and then basically like you can just input it into the application. It says like shadowing, how many hours, how many weeks, and then just does the math for you, like your total amount of hours.
Okay, thank you. Also, what do you think set you apart from like the rest of the applicants, in your opinion?
I think it was just a lot of things. I think just, I guess, like being well-rounded. I think that difference in my DET score did show something, right? It showed that like, like I don't back down, that I don't let just because I did bad once, that doesn't define me in a way. And then I don't know, I guess the interview also just went well, right? I assume they like me. I don't know why they picked me. I still want it to this day, but I think you just need to be confident in yourself and your abilities without being cocky. And then at the same time, just getting everything done, showing that you're a well-rounded individual who cares about the community, but you're also a person. You also have your interests and your likes, right? Like I talked about the things that I like to do, things that I like to do for fun. It's not all about school, and it's not all about like dentistry. Like your life's not only dentistry.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I do have one question related to the interview. This might not have been your experience, but a lot of people that have interviewed at UF have told me that has been the meanest interview they've been to, in terms of the interviewers being very like stiff and asking very tough questions. Was this your experience? And also, if it wasn't, have you, like, what would be your advice for someone interviewing and getting that type of vibe? What would you say would make you still like pull through and do okay?
Okay, so my interview wasn't necessarily like that. Like they weren't mean to me at all. They were just kind of like neutral. And they did laugh at times, and they were smiling, but for the most part, they were pretty neutral. Like they weren't too reactive. It also depends on like who you get. I didn't get Sandow, which is like the director of admissions, and like I've heard she's like more like serious. But it just depends on your experience. But at the end of the day, I mean, I just think you need to like know your application, know your likes and dislikes, like be prepared for questions that ask you about you, right? Like, what do you do to de-stress? What do you do to have fun? Which I feel like that's what they want to know about you, because they already know all your academics. They already know all your like everything you've done through your application. They've read it, like they've read your personal statement. They know everything about you. They want to know like what makes you you, like what makes you like a human being person. Like you're not just a little robot who like does all these things, right? They want to see like personality, and I feel like that's the most important thing. And I mean, just don't get nervous. There's no reason to be nervous. Like you already made it to the interview. That means that you're qualified to be there. If you made it to the interview, like you're basically in a way in, because like they see that you're qualified to be a part of their program. Now they just want to see like how you are in person.
Also be aware different types. Also be aware there's different types of interview. For example, at Nova is 101, so it's just one doctor interviewing you. Sorry about my dog. My dog is barking because heard Carolina's dog barking. And so yeah, Nova is 101, so it's not that intimidating. So you get more comfortable. But UF is 3-1, so you have 3 doctors asking you, seeing you, and that's why I think you can get more nervous because of that. But they like you, they want you, like they want to see that you, as Kristen said, that you're a person, like how do you like your normal life without being as a dental student. So and practice like the typical things, like your strength, what you like, your hobbies. Yeah, like I don't know.
Thank you.
When I also had my interview, it was actually very hard on me. I actually interviewed with a lady that used to go to FIU every year and present at FIU, so she knew me, and I also had done the UF Summer of Learning program prior to going into dental school. So she had known me and she gave me the interview, yet they were still, like, they were persistent. So I had actually failed a class and they continued to ask why. So as long as you gave them like a good reason why, or how you changed or how you benefited, or you understand, like Chris was saying, know your application, know your grades, know what you're doing and how you got better and what you can do when you're in dental school. Because when you're in dental school, you're going to be taking a lot more classes, a lot more load. So it's going to be harder than what you're doing now in undergraduate. So you have to understand that, and they're going to want to see what you can do to better yourself.
Yeah, I agree 100% with that. Like, actually, one of the questions that they asked me was like, if someone gave you like your application, like, how would you respond to that? So there you go. Like, think about your application. Know it. You gotta know it. You gotta know everything that you put on there.
What? So sorry,
Like,
didn't hear you.
they asked me like, how would you react like if you were on admissions if someone gave you your own application? Like if I was seeing my application as somebody else's. So like that just goes to show like how much you need to know your application, what you're putting on there, right? Like know yourself, know your strengths, be able to talk about the things that you've done and bring that into the conversation, even though they might have not asked you that. So that's why it's important to like really know yourself, really know everything that you put on there so that like you can have a good interview and have stuff to talk about. And it's not really like just a question response. It becomes more like a conversation. It also depends too, because at UF, I feel like since there are 3 people, it's a little harder, I guess, in a way, for it to be conversational. When it's one-on-one, it's definitely way easier. When I had my one-on-one interview at Boston University, like it went so well. Like I felt like that was my best interview, and it was because it was one-on-one, and I felt like it was more relaxed. It didn't feel like so much pressure having like 2 other faculty like right there looking at you, answering all the questions.
Yeah, my experience at UF in the interview, it was amazing. I mean, people were telling me like they were gonna be like super, you know. One thing, yeah, they asked me about my scores, of course. So just expect that, you know. But they weren't that harsh. I mean, they were nice. They just asked it nicely. But yeah, it was personal. And like you said, Christian, it was too much like about like how do you distress and what do you do for fun and stuff like that.
Thank you all. Like you've answered perfectly. I feel better now. I'm pretty scared about UF, but yeah, thank you.
And you don't need like an exactly amount of shadowing hours or volunteering. I mean, the better. I mean, the highest hours you have is the better. But first, don't lie. Don't say that you have like 700 hours and then they're gonna ask you like, what did you do? What did you do? Or like, what's your favorite procedure? And then if you don't know it, you're gonna like, bye-bye. You're gonna lose that chance. But it's the quality of the hours that you are like, that's the important thing. If you did, I don't know, 100 hours or 60 hours, but you learn a lot, that's what's gonna matter. Because at the end of the interview, they're gonna ask you, I don't know, something about the shadowing, what procedure do you like or whatever, then you're gonna be able to respond that. Instead of having like 700 hours and then you're not gonna be able to respond anything about dentistry.
Specifically about, I'm sorry, specifically about Nova, I wanted to ask, because I've called the school and I've also spoke to Dr. Galka, but I feel like everybody has so many varying opinions. Some have like like when you call, I don't even know who answers, but a few people have said like shadowing doesn't matter at all. Like they don't even care if you have like 5 hours. And I was like, like that sounds really weird. Yeah. And then I spoke to Dr. Galka and she was like, you need to have at least 100. And like, I'm just very confused because a lot of people have said that they don't care about shadowing, but I don't understand.
I mean,
I'm pretty sure most.
what I'm sorry. What
No, go.
Lippmann always said that it's not about the number. So
Yeah.
if you can get to 100 to look good, like that's perfect. But the thing is, like they want you to have at least 100. But if, as I said, if you have 60, and then you can like talk about it and say what you learn and what you saw and whatever, they prefer that rather than having as 150 and you didn't learn anything. You know what I mean? So it's not, NOVA is not always about grades and numbers and GPAs and DATs. Of course, they're not gonna accept you if you have less than 18. But they want you to see like your human, like yourself, what you learn, how can you respond, how can you like answer if you are in like I don't know, in a scenario, in a clinical scenario, or in a life scenario. So they want you to see more, I don't know, about yourself maybe. Of course, you need to have the numbers. They're not going to accept you below 3.4 GPA and the DAT that everyone knows. But it's more about, I think, the quality of your experiences, I guess.
Yeah, thank you.
I want to add something there. At Nova, if you have something unique, like for example, I used to fly drones. My entire interview at Nova was about drones. So they ask you like they want to know like something specific you do like outside of dentistry, just not community dentistry. So they want you to know like she said, like Cara said, like about yourself very much. And yeah, so get ready. If you have something specific on your application, they will pretty much ask you about that.
What are dental schools' stance on math? Because my science GPA, like my cumulative is significantly higher than my science GPA, but it's just because of math. Like it's not the science courses that brought down my science GPA. So I wanted to know how much that matters.
I don't think it matters at all, but I don't know. I think they see your GPA overall. Of course, they're going to see if you fail a class. They're going to ask you why or what happened. And for example, in Nova, Lippmann said that if you fail Orgo and you retook it, he's going to ask you what happened. And he like wants to know what was going on in that time frame in your life, why you did it. But at the end, you pass it. Okay, you took it 2 times, but at the end you pass it. So they're gonna see if you fail a class, they're gonna ask you. But I think overall, that's what, I don't know, they care about.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question here in the chat, and it was talking about UK. So I don't know, Carolina. She's asking me about how early clinical experience begins here in UK. So here we start pretty much as any other dental school. We see like the majority of patients start in 3rd year, but as a 1st year students, we start seeing kids and like we do profis, we do clinics on kids, and pretty much we do sealants also. Those are preventive treatments, procedures for kids. So I'm a 1st year already. I already saw my first patients, and they were kids. And also on the 2nd year, you start working also with patients and like mixed with 3rd years, because here we work like in teams. So it's a D2 and a D3, or D3 and a D4, and D1 and a D2. And yeah, just like that. But yeah, just 2nd year, you start working and doing restorative procedures and a lot of stuff. And as a D3, you're ready to start everything. And you are free to do any procedure as you can, as long as you can do it. Also here, there is a lot of digital dentistry going on, all the new techniques and all new stuff going on. So right now, at my waxing class, we use like Cerer machines. I don't know if you guys know about it. And we scan that in 3D, and yeah, we work with that. We play with that pretty much, and it's something good because that's pretty much what dentistry is going forward in the future. And yeah, we do a lot of digital dentistry here, modern dentistry, because here the school is pretty much renovated. Recently was renovated, and all the clinics floor, everything is completely new. And yeah, and also another thing is good to mention here, our labs are open 24-hour every day, every year. So you can go 2 a.m. Sunday, Saturday, and work there and practice as much as you can. And I feel that's something really good to have because you get that free time and you can schedule yourself better.
I had a question about UF Dental. When do you guys start seeing patients?
Basically the same time, like third year. So the time before that, we're just basically like prepping for that. So learning how to like do preps, work with all the stuff, the hand pieces and everything. And then third year, you really start going into clinicals.
And is there like a certain amount of, for any school, is there a certain amount of like root canals or extractions or something that you have to do like to graduate? Like, is there a certain?
Yeah, I don't know the exact number for us, but yeah, they definitely have requirements for you to graduate. You have to complete a certain amount of things. I don't know exactly what it is. I'm not there yet, but when I get there, I'll let you know.
All right, got it.
I have a follow-up question for that. For UF, do you get to assist or I don't know, get into clinics before D3 year?
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure you're allowed to go in and shadow and check it out. To the extent of that, I don't really know, just because like things have been so different because of COVID. So I feel like my experience with faculty has been very limited. So I don't really know yet. Hopefully with time it'll get better and I'll find out more stuff. But it's kind of harder like with the faculty because like our class time is so limited and our interactions even with one another is so limited. So yeah, but I'm pretty sure you can. I've heard people talk about that.
Okay, guys, any more questions? Because some people.
I have a question for Kara. Do you receive any scholarship at Nova?
Actually, I didn't apply to anyone. I mean, any scholarship. There should be like some scholarships, but I don't know at all what scholarship. I mean, I think it's really hard to get into, but don't, like contact them or like go to Nova website and I think you can find. I know they offer me one, I mean, not me, the whole class at the beginning of the semester, that you needed to like do like an essay talking about yourself and why you deserve that scholarship, but it was just like 10 grand. It wasn't that much. I mean, it's gonna help you, but that was the only one that I got offered. I didn't do the essay, but some people did it, and I think they chose like 5 people to give that scholarship.
I have a question regarding Nova. So Christian said that for UF Dental, they offer, I guess, financial aid for students that need it. Does Nova have anything like that or no?
I mean, financial, the thing they're going to offer you is the loan. It's not financial aid. I mean, they're going to give you the loan to pay the school and to have an extra for the living expenses. But they're not gonna like give you any grants or anything at all. They're gonna like charge you for everything.
Well, one quick thing that I wanted to say, when it comes to asking schools questions, please do your research. Don't ask schools like questions like, oh, how much is your tuition? Because it's all online. Ask them things that are not online. So make sure you like go through the website and look at it and then send them an email or a call or whatever. You don't want to be that guy calling, asking questions that are obviously answered in the online website. So make sure you guys like look into the schools, make sure you look into their website and try to learn as much as you can before you go and reach out for questions, because that's the whole point of the website. Like, don't annoy them with those like calls and emails. They probably won't even answer you.
I have a question for Christian. How's the student culture at UF? Is it like super competitive, or do you help each other out?
Well, right now our class is split into two. So like I really only do stuff with half my class. We're 93 in total, so like I'm like with like 45 people. And honestly, I haven't really felt any competitive vibes from anybody. Everybody's just been really nice. Obviously, like dental school is very different. You're doing things that are very different. Like for example, psychomotors, like when we're waxing teeth, like that's performance based. Like it's like how you perform on that day, not like you can practice, but like if you don't perform that day, you don't perform that day. So it's everyone's honestly been really nice and really encouraging and helpful, and like we all like study together and stuff like that. We have our own little groups that will study and stuff like that. And honestly, I haven't really felt any competition from anybody, at least not yet. So everybody's been really nice and really helpful.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, if there's no more questions, we're gonna finish this meeting. And it's been like an hour and a half. And it's Friday night. I know half of you guys want to go to your friend's house or whatever. So if you guys have any more questions, you can email or message, I don't know, everyone that they put their information in the chat. If not, then I guess, I don't know. Okay. Anyone else? Do you guys have like important questions? Any more important questions you can
I
ask?
just want to say one more thing. Is like, guys, if I'm here, if I made it, you guys can do it too. That's the like my emotional quote that I always repeat to myself. Even right now, it's like, bro, I can't with biochem, for example. I'm struggling with biochem right now. And it's like, okay, Kira, if the D2 did it and they passed it and they are okay, you can do it too. And I said that like every day when I was studying for my DAT, it's like, bro, this exam is so hard. Like, you know, you start like thinking, overthinking, but if we did it, you guys can do it too. So like, I know it's sort of stressful and a lot of emotion is going on, but like, just trust yourself and you can do it.
Thank you, Kira. Thank you.
Piggybacking off of Kira, if I made it here, you guys can, because I didn't go straight off of undergrad. I had to do a master's. So as long as you guys don't give up and this is what you want to do, just continue to push on and don't give up, because that's what the dental schools want to see. They want to see your determination and what you want to do. So if you guys even have any questions on that, if you guys want to know more about the master's program at Berry in Hollywood, let me know. I can give you guys some more information on that as well. So,
Kira, I had a quick question. I'm a nutrition science major at FIU as well, and as you know, we have the option to take biochemistry either through the chem or bio department, and I wanted to know which one you took and if you'd recommend that one, or are they just like pretty equivalent?
I think the one that I took was the Bio 3033. I think it's the one that, I don't know if it's the one that is under the curriculum from nutrition science, but if you go and ask like to Denise, that is the admission, the advisor, she has a paper that it says like pre-dental requirements classes, and you can see there which one is the one that you need. I choose that one because it was the one that it was on the paper for the dental requirements.
Yeah, for nutrition, it is 3033. That's what Denise told me too.
Yeah,
Okay,
do that,
perfect.
and also, like remember to take physics 1 and 2 because it's not under the curriculum. And I think for example, for micro you have the lecture and the lab, but for Nova you don't need the lab, but you need it in order to get the Bachelor in Nutrition Science. So I know UF requires lab in micro, but Nova doesn't.
Okay.
And also for biochem, I enroll lab, like biochem lab, and then I realized that I don't need it at all, and it was super hard. So I called UF and I called Nova to see if they need it, and they told me that I don't need it, so I just drop it. But yeah, make sure we are the labs and everything.
Thank you, Kira.
I wanna add something there. As my application last year during my application, UF sent me an email saying that they don't require microbiology lab anymore. So yeah, just the lecture they do require.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and guys, check also before application, before you graduate, check the schools that you're interested in and look at the requirement, because most of the new schools, like private school, they do require anatomy, physiology, and those kind of classes. So don't think like you have all the requirements. Make sure you have them before like you graduate, because if not, you're gonna have to take the classes later and try to avoid that. So just stay on top of it now, since it's early for you guys, and make sure you have all the requirements done by the time you apply. I mean, not by the time you apply, by the time you graduate.
And like, for example, Denise, that was my advisor, she knew a lot of stuff to go into the dental track, but I made my research and remember that you are the one that want to like advance and like get all your classes done fast. So you be on top of everything that you need to take in order to like graduate fast, because sometimes Denise can miss a class that you made, had an option to take it last semester, but she missed it. So you need like to be on top of what classes you need to take in order to do it fast. And
yeah, definitely.
Like miss it in order to the application.
Yeah, okay. Actually, Denise gets heated with me because I take too many classes. Like I'm graduating a year early, so it's funny. But thank you for the advice.
Here, I wanted to ask, you said you took your DAT in June and then you applied in August, right?
Yeah, I sent my application on June like 13. They opened, I think, at June 1st or 2nd. But I took my DAT, I had it like at the August 10th, but I had a problem with my names. Remember that you need to have like, I'm a Latin, so I have like my first name, second name, first last name, and second last name. So it's a huge name, and I just put my first name and my two last name. I didn't put my middle name. So when I show them my ID, my license, it says I'm a passport, it says my second name. So they told me like, oh no, I can verify your name. So
that's fucked up. Oh, sorry.
You can take the DAT today. So I had to reschedule. They made me pay again everything, and just because of that. And yeah, then I rescheduled for 4 days after with my whole name. And yeah, I took it there. I took it like in August 21st. And after that, I made an appointment with Lippmann to show him my scores. And then he told me that was okay, perfect. I'm gonna give you the interview.
Okay, and that was your first attempt?
Yes.
Okay, I kind of like keep delaying it and I'm like getting so overwhelmed, so it kind of like comforted me to hear that it is doable, like last minute even.
I mean, it's doable. Some people do it, I don't know, like in September or something, but I don't recommend it. Like the fastest, like the earliest, the better, because remember, they already are having like interviews and everything. So if you wait, maybe they already like have the role complete for the candidates. So
yeah. Thank you so much.
I think one of you guys mentioned the Air Force, that you were applying as like a medical student in the Air Force, so they pay your loans. If that person is still here, could they maybe explain that a bit further?
So
I'm sorry?
it was Nicole. She left.
Oh, okay. All right. Never mind then.
Let me speak on something on that though, real quick. if you like are doing it, joining the army, joining the Air Force, whatever, just to get your loans paid off, do not do it because you will be like not happy. Do it only if that's something you really want to do. Like, don't do it if that's not something you want to do, because then now you're tied to that. Now you got to go and serve them for the next 3 or 4 years to pay off all that money that they just gave you. So like, be very conscious of that and like really think about that decision. Like, do I see myself spending the next 4 years outside of dental school, maybe not being in private practice, not doing whatever to go pay off my loan money? I don't know. You got to think about it. That's where like priorities lie. Like, I personally, hell no. Like, I want to go into private practice. I'm not trying to go to the army. Even if I have to pay the money, whatever, I'll pay it. But I'm not trying to stay hooked to the army. So like, it just depends on you. So if that's something you want to do, or it's something being a dream of yours, like, oh, I want to go and serve in the army, like I have family in the army, go do it. But if that's not you, don't do it because you're going to regret it.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
And one last tip that I heard here in Dental's, one of the meetings when I was a member, they told me to, I'm sorry about my dog again. They told me to not like keep reschedule your DAT, because like you're gonna burn out after 3 months study. You're gonna burn out. So try to stay with one date and like do everything you can to make it to that date. If you need to reschedule for, I don't know, medical stuff, personal stuff, okay, but try to don't like postpone it.
Yeah, I agree. I say give yourself 10 weeks. 10 weeks to study for that exam nonstop every day. And obviously like take breaks so you don't burn out. But I say 10 weeks is like the right amount of time. Like, I don't think you need longer than that. As long as you're disciplined, like I said, that's the hardest part. Discipline and studying the amount of hours that you say you're going to study, because things come up. Things happen. Mom needs this. You need to do this for your sibling. You have to work. So like, make sure you set up a schedule and you stick to it. And if you stick to it, you'll be fine.
So basically, you could send your application, that you could apply, and then whenever within that cycle, let's say for like next year, whenever within that cycle you could take the DAT and send the score after you apply.
Yeah, you can, but you want to take it as soon as possible, just because like if they haven't received your DAT score, they kind of put you in this box of like, we're waiting for your score. So like,
Okay.
if you take the test until like February, I mean, everybody already got it on December, so like,
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
So like, what she did is what I did too. Like, I sent my application in July, but I didn't take the DAT until August something, and the scores take time to send out. So they probably didn't even get my scores until like September. So just be conscious of that. Be
Got
conscious
it.
of the timeline, and when you apply, like, it just matters because like not because like you have. I mean, you do have less of a chance because more spots are getting filled up. So you just want to apply earlier so you can guarantee yourself more opportunities. But you don't
Gotcha.
have to apply like the day of, but it is better. I mean,
Yeah,
now with
yeah.
COVID, like they're probably going to be a little bit different, just because like I feel like it threw everybody off. So I feel like everybody's kind of like this cycle, but if you're applying in a following cycle or wherever, try to get your application in as soon as possible, just so you can have the most opportunities available to you, the most interviews and stuff like that.
So what do you think would be like the latest that you should take, like that you shouldn't pass that time to take it?
I would say latest, like, well, remember to check also all the schools. Different schools have
Yeah.
different deadlines, but like, I would say no later than sometime in August. Like, try
Okay.
to, like, at least your DAT for sure.
Yeah,
Like,
DAT, that's what I meant.
yeah, like, try not to take it later than that. I mean,
Oh
if
yeah,
it
for
happens,
sure.
things happen, whatever, you take it later, but you don't want to like miss out on stuff just because you could have done it a little bit earlier.
For
So
sure.
like, plan ahead and make sure that you like have the right timeline so that you can like have the most opportunities available to you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, guys. Any other question about UK? I gotta go now. So
Yeah, we're gonna actually finish the meeting too. So thank you guys for coming. Thank you, Kira. Thank you, Aldo. Thank you, Chris. Thanks to everyone. Thank you, Jade. And if there's no more questions, let's finish the meeting so we can leave.
good luck to everyone.
Good luck,
Bye.
guys. Take care.
Thank you. Good luck, everyone.
Take care, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.